From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LA with a special breaking news report about your fourth stimulus check of 2022. With incredible great news as CR for Stimulus 2.0, the House version, has now passed. It passed in the House minutes ago and it's off to the Senate. And this is not one, but one of three possibilities to do different CR for stimuluses. It's great news, and it's a breaking news report today on Afternoons LA. We're going to go over the incredible details of where the CR is, where the CR 2.0 is right now, and where the Build Back Better is as well. There's a lot happening, and it's happening in just the last few minutes, and I have all the incredible great news for you in today's recording, this special report from Santa Monica, California. We'll be looking at the Build Back Better Act that still will pass thereafter and has lots of checks in there, upwards of about $60,000 of checks on top of the $15,000 that are already in there. The Senate changes are robust, and the third stimulus would repeat at $45,000. Student loan debt forgiveness is still at play, and this stimulus is one of three items that the president can do and send that money out to you in addition to the big MSCs that Joe Biden wants you to have. In this recording, we're going to go over those opportunities that are now robust. It's no longer a play at watching just the Build Back Better Act. Now you have upwards of at least 5 bodies of legislation, 2 add-ons from the president, and a missing sirloin. Everything's here except the bacon and a cow. But other than that, we're good. It's a brand new Afternoons LA, and I got all that incredible great news, plus the latest on that Jalapa, Bernie, and also Biden. It's all brand new. It's direct from Santa Monica, California. It's a special report of Afternoons LA, and the details start right here, right now, from Santa Monica. And here we go. The ring will pass in the House of Representatives off to the Senate, but the Build Back Better Act has sisters and brothers joining it. It's CR for Stimulus 1.0, 2.0, and 3.0. And minutes ago, 2.0 passed. Wow, this is huge. On top of the $45,000 under Build Back Better Act and student loan debt forgiveness still at play. But we're also going to learn how this stimulus can go out by executive action, not executive order, how lots of money, more than SS 200, whatever's going to pay, was ever going to pay you, can land in your hands in less than 30 days. Boy, it's exciting. A lot of bodies of legislations are now at issue to get you lots of money. It's no longer one package, one bill. It's now lots of bills. And the exciting details happened minutes ago. That's why you're watching a special broadcast direct from Santa Monica, live of Afternoons LA with the breaking news right now. Those incredible details are abound in this recording. Plus, we'll be looking at what happens next for the big sums of money. I'm excited you found me, and I'm excited you're here, but first I want you to subscribe. You're watching the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America, LALATE, and I want you to subscribe to make us number 2. The viewership has absolutely gone through the roof in the last week. The biggest numbers we've seen on this channel since the month of October. Keep on making us grow by telling your friends and family, come on over, subscribe, like the video, and consider becoming a member to the fastest growing channel there is. Also sign up for those LA alerts across the board, the link to which is in the video's description. In today's video, we have a lot to go over, and I know it's a lot of bodies of legislation, so I'm going to try to keep it easy and simple and breezy for you. But we're going to start first with the Build Back Better Act. The fourth stimulus recon, the social spending, has a lot of different names. It's the same item. It has a lot of checks in there. We're going to go over those checks first before we cut over to CR for stimulus. Let's look at those incredible checks in the Build Back Better Act. 3 clusters and 3 add-ons. Wow. There's at least $15,000, upwards of $60,000 of checks. This is incredible recon. With the first cluster, here we go. Hazard pay got in there. For my essential workers, 1 more year. To learn about it under third stimulus, go to irs.gov and look up under EIC. Then $4,000 to elder care, got in there. $4,000 to care for young children, got it in there. The $550 check for the Pell Grant, done. Then $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle, done. Money for the home repair, totally free if you live in a low-income community, done. They got in there the CTC, $3,600 for young children across the board. Lots of money and lots of money just to start. We're only in the first of 3 clusters. Now, let's look at the first add-on, the first of 3 add-ons, and it comes from the incredible Maxine Waters here in Southern California. She wanted to give you money to buy your first home. She got it in there. A little bit less than $25,000. This is money given from the federal government to the seller at the time of escrow in your name. Ready for the second cluster of checks? Here we go. This is where we find lots of money. Home repairs, these are to weatherize your home, and then paid leave. Whoa, this is where there's lots of money, lots of checks. Paid leave is if you have to stay home due to illness from work or a family member that lives with you. How much money is this? It is $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 or more per year. If you make $35,000 or more per year, it is incredible $800 a week. If you make $15,000 or more per year, it's $400 a week. W-2, 1099, you all get it. Now, if you don't work, but your son or daughter does work and they live with you and they have to take off from work to take you to the doctor's office, they get the check as well. Incredible. 4 to 6 weeks per year, and there you go. Just incredible details across the board. That is paid leave, and that is the second of 2 clusters of checks. Ready for the second add-on? I think you are. And it comes from the incredible Bob Casey. Out of Pennsylvania, it's $250 billion of free home health care and seniors-owned people on disabilities. Let's go to that third cluster of checks. Here we go. That's where we find deliciousness. Free school meals for all, checks. Cheaper prescription medication, checks. Free internet, checks. Money for farmers, checks. And then money for independent contractors. The seniors, 2 checks on the House side, 3 on the Senate side. On the House side, they got in there the checks for hearing and also for lowering the Medicare eligibility age and also for the Medicaid gap fix. On the Senate side, they got in there the dental, vision, and hearing and the lowering the eligibility age is what they want to add across the board on the Senate side, which is par for the course of what we're looking at when we're talking about things added on the Senate side to this Build Back Better Act. We're, of course, talking about, you know those 3 letters. Jump in the live chat and write those 3 letters right now if you know what I'm about to say. I'm about to say the third add-on, and it is MSC. Come in on the Senate side. Let's go over what it is, who gets it, how much it is, and why CR for Stimulus is making this so fascinating. First, what is it? It stands for Monthly IRS Stimulus Check. There are many checks in this incredible recon, lots of checks. So we want to differentiate it from the lots of checks in this recon by referring to this as MSC, the ones that come out from IRS. Okay, who gets it? The legislators have told tens of thousands of viewers of this channel since spring of last year that eligibility is the same as a third stimulus check. Want to recap? Let's recap who got that third. Single individuals, $75,000 or less, you got it if that was your annual income. Married couple, $150,000 or less, you got it as well, double it. If you're a family for it, you get it as well, quadruple it. If you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, you would get the check as well. It's not income. It's not taxable. It would go to adult dependents. There's no dependency that you need to check. It is not offered on a state-by-state basis. It is a national program, and it goes off your most recent tax return. And so if that tax return has a direct deposit account set up, that's how you get paid across the board. That is that part of the question. The next part is, how much? Well, those legislators have represented $2,000 the first month, $1,000 thereafter for up to 6 months. And Joseph Biden, through his spokesperson, Andrew Bates, no less than a week ago, says he wants all these checks of the Build Back Better Act to go out right now. Joseph Biden, your president of the United States, is ready to send out checks right out the door. But now we're going to look at where MSC gets into the recon and the backup plans that are now becoming very, very exciting of CR for stimulus. Those details coming up right now. First, I want to go over where provisions are added on the Build Back Better Act, passed in the month of November in the House. Now, in the Senate, the Build Back Better Act is a reconciliation budget bill. In the Senate, they would make modifications during subcommittee. That hasn't happened yet. They make modifications by adding provisions to the recon as they've represented, and then they have a Senate bill for floor vote. That Senate floor votes, then a two-day vote-a-rama. Now, is there another opportunity? There is. The other opportunity is do an ancillary, other piece of legislation in addition to the Build Back Better Act that gets you money faster with an inherent deadline. And about 10 days ago, I came up with the idea, bringing back an old favorite. And it was CR for stimulus. If you're in the live chat right now, you know how to write that hashtag campaign. Write it right now. CR, the number 4 stimulus, without the 2022 at the end. Let's go over what CR for stimulus 2020 was about and what it means now for us in 2022. Before we look at the incredible great news about CR for stimulus 2.0 passing minutes ago. Wow, I told you this is an exciting breaking news report. So let's go over what's at issue. In spring of 2020, we had just started the pandemic. First stimulus was over, and we needed more money. So they were proposing a body of legislation called the second stimulus package. It was a package, thousands of pages in length, and it was being negotiated by two people on behalf of the Democrats, Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the House out of San Francisco, on behalf of the Republicans, Steve Mnuchin out of New York, on behalf of the Republicans, then Treasury Secretary to Donald Trump. They negotiated in the spring, no deal. Then the summer, no deal. In the fall, no deal. In the winter, no deal. Finally, by December, I said, this has been 11 months of negotiations, no deal. So I sat back one night in December in 2020. I said, I have to come up with a solution to this. 11 months of negotiations, no deal. And I found it. What I was looking for was something smaller, not a 3,000-page bill, something that will go by bipartisan support, and something that has a deadline. And I found it in what's called a continuing resolution. There's a lot of different names for it, but a continuing resolution is a budget bill that funds the federal government that's done about 3 to 6 months. The reason I liked it was for several reasons. One, it goes by bipartisanship. Two, it's easy and breezy. It's not thousands of pages length. It's not a package. It's a small bill. And number three, it has an inherent deadline. They can roll it over a few days, a week, maybe a month, but they ain't going to roll it over 3 months. Why? Because the government would default, and no one wants the government to default. So I thought of the idea, I thought of the advocacy, I came up with the invention, I came up with the idea, but I also prepared for the response to potential criticism, and I made the first recording in December 2020. And this is what I said in December 2020. I said, hey everybody, it's LALATE, it's December 2020. And second stimulus, not happening still. We've looked at 11 months of negotiations, it's still not happening. We need something else. I think I found something else. It's called CR for stimulus. Putting a stimulus check in the thing called the continuing resolution. Its current deadline, as I told viewers at the time, was December 2020. And if we put it in there, and that becomes law, the check goes out because it's something they're not going to miss the deadline on. And I said, this is something we need because we haven't had a deadline with all these negotiations, all these months. Viewers loved the idea. One, because it's simple. Two, because it had an inherent deadline. Three, because everyone was tired of watching Nancy and Steve Mnuchin negotiate. And so I delivered the recording. I said, go advocate for this incredible money, CR for stimulus, and viewers did. And immediately, the criticism came on in. I was ready for it. They said, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, LALATE. It doesn't belong in there. The CR, the continuing resolution, LALATE, is about money for the federal government. It's to give money to the federal government. It's not to give money to you or the American people. This is money for the federal government, not money to the citizens. It doesn't belong in there. My reaction was ready. You're right. It doesn't belong in there. But how many times in the history of Congress have they passed legislation where money is inserted that doesn't belong in there? You're going to see one in just brand new, happened just minutes ago. It's CR for Stimulus 2.0. It's coming up in the second. I said it doesn't belong in there, and I know it. Throughout all this entire pandemic, at that time, they had bills that has money that doesn't belong in there. They had money for foreign military governments, didn't belong in there. Money for a new FBI building, didn't belong in there. And money for the new copyright divisions didn't belong in there. Put our money in there. We need the money. And so we advocated, we pushed for its advocacy. And viewers heard loud and clear the importance of getting that money out the door, and so did those legislators. One morning we woke up and we heard Americans will have stimulus in the continuing resolution. We thought we were done. We thought we had gotten it all until we looked and we realized they're trying to put unemployment stimulus in there, not the stimulus we're asking for. So we pushed back again, and finally it became a reality. CR for Stimulus, created by me on this channel, pushed by the purple power of the viewership of the channel, became American history. The $600 stimulus check was inserted in the continuing resolution, never done in the history of this nation, and it was mailed out in December 2020, and some people got it a month or so later. Guess what? Second stimulus never happened. It never became law, it never had a vote, and it never had a check. It never got over the finish line. CR for Stimulus did. So a week and about 3 days ago, I delivered back on channel. I said, you want to bring it back? A viewer said, yes. 11 months of negotiations, Joe and Joe, negotiations, not going anywhere. And we need economic recovery right now. And so we started a push. CR for Stimulus. And you heard the breaking news on this channel 48 hours ago, where House Democrats said, you know what, we like the Build Back Better Act. It will pass, but we need other bodies of legislation. They heard us. They heard us. And as Representative Aguilar out of California, Pete Aguilar said, we need lots of economic recovery legislation being done right now. We're not forgetting about Build Back Better Act. We just need that other done right now. And he said, here was the quote, that we absolutely need other pieces of economic recovery legislation to continue to alleviate these issues, like supply chain inflationary pressure. What's at issue is that he heard loud and clear, they heard loud and clear, what's different here? When we look at the recon, there is social reform in there, dental, vision, hearing, medical, that's social issues. Then there's economic issues, money for your wallet to pay your bills. And Aguilar said, we need to pass pieces, not one, but pieces of legislation. And I said, that's looking like CR for Stimulus 2.0, the House version of it. Yesterday, I delivered on camera that I believe within 24 hours, CR for Stimulus 2.0 would pass the House. The breaking news is that minutes ago, this ancillary piece of legislation just passed the House. It is now off to the Senate. And while it still can get modified, there's indications tonight that provisions don't belong in there, are in there, sounds sort of familiar, that Republicans like the legislation, that they have their version of the legislation, and there may be a kumbaya to come together on this. All we need to do is insert a stimulus, but we're not done there yet. In the second half of this video, we're going to go over why it's getting even better than that. There is not one, but two other bodies of legislation to be looking at. CR for Stimulus 1, CR for Stimulus 2.0, a third opportunity, and then those add-ons that Joseph Biden can do right now. Joseph Biden has an opportunity to give you money more than SS200 would ever have given you, and he can do it in 30 days from now. It's brand new, and it's in the second half of this breaking news report. Plus, we're going to look at what Pramila Jayapal did minutes ago and what Joseph Biden did as well. Both of them are now at issue as Americans are wondering, are these people focusing more on their victory laps than our wallets? And we're going to look at what Bernie Sanders is doing as well. Finally, we're going to cut back to the latest details about where economic recovery is and why you need economic stimulus based upon this economy. And finally, I'm going to show you how to get thousands of dollars right today. Yes, stay to the very end because we have lots of checks coming to your wallet. That is third stimulus. The excitement is continuing in the second half of this video. Stay with me to the very end as a special breaking news report of Afternoons LA continues. I told you there was a lot happening today, and that's why I'm here live with you on a special report. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then Afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now as Afternoons LA goes into the second half of this breaking news live report from Santa Monica, California. The House of Representatives have passed a CR for Stimulus 2.0 minutes ago, and it could be coupled with a Senate version that the Republicans, you heard me right, the Republicans like. Those Senate changes are going to be detailed in this recording. That could be coupled with the Build Back Better Act at a later date, and also with third stimulus that's still paying out you cash. Plus, we've talked about student loan debt forgiveness and fifth stimulus, but now I'm going to show you how the president could give you fifth stimulus in less than 30 days without an act of Congress, more than SS 200 ever would have given you. SS 200 was 6 to 12 months. This would be a lifetime. And guess what? A kid here in Los Angeles has the opportunity to show the President of the United States how to get you that money. It's all heating up. It's all right here. And this is why you want to subscribe. You're watching the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America, LALATE. Subscribe, tell your friends and family come over here and make it number 2. Thank you for the last week being our biggest week of subscriber and viewership growth since the month of October. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member, Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Casino VIP, and sign for those LA alerts to get that newsletter. If you're a member, Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via the YouTube alert system and the LALATE alert system. And with that, let's go into the very shocking breaking news coming in late today on this breaking news special report live from Santa Monica. Well, I don't think I've ever seen a day like this, but it is jam-packed of news. Okay, first, I had told you yesterday that what I'm calling CR for Stimulus 2.0, because there's no real good name to call it, would pass by the end of the week. Guess what? It passed. Told you. The House of Representatives passed this Representative Aguilar-type legislation I've been talking to you about. Representative Aguilar, who I've been featuring on this channel for about 2 days, he is a House California Representative Democrat, said that he was going to start passing ancillary pieces of legislation to provide economic relief to Americans in need. And the first one could come by the end of the week. Well, guess what? The first one did come by the end of the week, just passed in the House. Now, what I want to tell you, as I've been teaching in the last few days, don't worry if the bill is called the chocolate cake or the sushi roll bill. Don't worry what it's called, because it's what is being slid in there is most important. So this bill that passed minutes ago is to deal with a lot of issues, and all of them are economic, your wallet. They're talking about inflation. They're talking about supply chain. They're talking about competitors with China. They're talking about workers. They're talking about a lot of things. So if you hear one thing like China, don't turn it off and think that's not yours. This is yours. Now, what is the reaction? Let me go over the reaction of this passage just minutes ago. First, a Democrat, Stephanie Murray out of Florida, said today's bill was a missed opportunity to quickly get a bill to the president's desk. So she didn't like it. She says the bill is going to arrive in the Senate dead on arrival because it's too full of progressive policies. That's her opinion. I like that it's so obviously wrought with stuff that doesn't belong in there because the senators will just take it out. If there's something that simply doesn't belong in there or is just so disliked, they'll remove it. Guess what? Here's a quote from a Republican. What do you think the Republican quote is? He thinks it's going to pass. What? Pinch me. Wake me up when the story is over. It's great news here. Senator Todd Young, who is a GOP backer of a Senate legislation that mirrors CR for Stimulus 2.0, he has CR for Stimulus 3.0. Yeah, I told you there's a lot of legislation in this video. He says, my hope is that the process will continue to move forward. The Democrats just passed their bill in the House. Now we can go to conference and come up with a piece of legislation that's more reflective of what we can produce in the Senate. Meaning, as senators, we already have our CR for Stimulus 3.0. You just passed CR for Stimulus 2.0. Now we can get 2 and 3 together and come up with something else. And he thinks it can get done. Oh, boy. Now, remember, CR for Stimulus, the concept is get something that's bipartisan, quick, deadline on a fast track, and then just insert a stimulus check in there. We ain't inserting $60,000 of checks. We ain't inserting home repairs. Just send something quickly in there. Well, Young says we can work very quickly to get it done right here in the Senate. This is a quote minutes ago, folks. I told you. They are fast tracking this one, baby, because they like it. Now, let's go over some more of the reaction to this House passed bill minutes ago. Some House Democrats think that some of the progressive language in there needs to be removed. So they'll remove it. Now, here is what's ironic. Just what I said. If it's called a chocolate cake bill, don't worry what it's called. Guess what they have in there? Chips. Just not chocolate chips. Computer chips. It's a computer chip bill. It don't belong in there, LA. It's a computer chip bill. No, it's just like sort of like throwing the kitchen sink in there. They're just throwing lots of stuff in there. So this is really good news. It is off and now in the Senate. Okay, so that is CR for Stimulus 2.0. And 3.0 is being worked by the House at the same time. All right, now let's track back to what's going on with CR for Stimulus 1.0, which is using another piece of legislation. Remember, using all these different pieces of legislation and trying to get things inserted in them that are quicker, faster than a massive 3,000-page Build Back Better monstrosity act. And what is that other one? Of course, the government funding bill. Let's go over some dates because people love dates, including counter-calling. The dates for the government funding is upon us, but I want to go over how they're looking at that right now tonight because it's getting very fascinating. So let's see if I can flip to it fast enough. I remember the date is February. Here it is. So I found it. So the date on the funding of the federal government bill is February 18th. Now, let me go over what they're talking about tonight first. They may do it by February 18th, may do it a few days after February 18th, or may they do a stopgap. I am not against any of that, but I'd rather not do a stopgap. What is a stopgap? Stopgap is basically saying, let's just sort of put it off and get to it March 18th. I'd rather just use the inherent method at the moment, which is to get it done right away. There's indication that they may not do a stopgap because they've done it before. And at this point, it looks like they may get it moving along. When would the vote happen on this? So the vote on the House side, we know tonight, according to Representative David Price, he's a Democrat of North Carolina, says that the vote could happen as early as next week. Then we have Republican Richard Shelby, who's a senator, says we need to get the number, the top line number, and then we can work on it really quickly. Here is John Tester, Democrat of Montana. He says we can get this done very, very quickly. That's the quote tonight, folks. This is CR for Symbols 1.0. So you see how many opportunities we're looking at the moment? This is CR for Symbols 1.0. We've got to get to a top line number very, very soon, because right now it's just getting the darn thing written. I had to change his words because I can't say his word on air. We might need a week, and then we got the CR done. So the top line needs to happen yesterday, meaning that he doesn't think that writing the bill is the issue. It's the top line number, and then the quote even gets better. This quote, again, continuing from John Tester, Democrat from Montana, says 4 people: Senator Leahy, Senator Shelby, Senator McConnell, and Senator Schumer. That's how to get it locked down. I don't know about the House, but if us as senators get it locked down, then I think the House will go with us, and I really think we'll be done. Okay. There's a lot of good viewers of this channel who, during our advocacy days of 2021, really were picking up the phone and calling Schumer's office a lot. Remember, you know who you are. You called Schumer's office more than you maybe called Liz Warren's office or someone else. Well, here are the 4 people they need to lock down for this government funding bill: Leahy, Shelby, McConnell, who of course is Republican, and Schumer. Go look up those names and see which of them are the ones you want to focus on. But I'm going to tell you right now, you definitely want to focus on Leahy, who's a Democrat from Vermont, and Schumer, who's a Democrat from New York, and say, you know what, government funding bill, get it done. Get it done next week, and put a stimulus check in there. Get it done and get a stimulus check in there. Again, Leahy, that's Leahy, and Schumer from New York are both Democrats, senators. And according to the quote from other senators, if we get these 5 people locked down, of which one of them is a Republican, you don't want to call Mitch. He doesn't want to even hear from you unless you have chicken. You want to come out, call Leahy and Schumer, say, get the funding bill done next week, the government funding bill. Don't do a stopgap. Get it done next week, and insert a stimulus check in there. Done. I mean, poof. I mean, if it sounds so inherently, oh my goodness, it is that, oh my goodness. And again, that is just CR for Symbols 1.0. We have 2.0's option out there, and that 3.0 we went over a second ago, the Senate version. There is an outside 4.0 version that may be sitting around, a little bit harder because it really is so strange. There will be a Senate bill to sanction Russia for putting 100,000 troops on the Ukrainian border. Can you insert a stimulus check in there? Well, it's a bipartisan legislation. Republicans and Democrats are going to pass it in the Senate. Marco Rubio on behalf of the Republicans, and on behalf of the Democrats, Bob Menendez. So it will pass, and it's going to pass very quickly. So can you get Marco Rubio to insert a stimulus check in there? Maybe you can. Suddenly you see that we are working way outside the box. We're not just focusing on the Build Back Better Act, and we're not just focusing on one CR. We're focusing on potentially 5 different opportunities. Now, I know the word CR refers to continuing resolutions. These aren't all continuing resolutions. It's just the expression we're using to explain using something different. And guess what? This guy can get you 2 other pots of money. And I'm going to show you, as the kid here from Los Angeles, how this guy from Delaware can get you 2 other pots of money, and one of which he promised to you during the campaign trail. And we're going to go over that starting right now. There are 2 opportunities for Joseph Biden to send out money to you and the American people. The first one is changing guidelines, and the second one is repurposing money. Let's go over the first one, which is changing guidelines. And it starts with his campaign promise that millions of Americans who are seniors on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, and rental benefits would get $200 a month and get SSI reform day 1 of his administration. Well, we're 100 days in administration, hasn't happened. And what was the concept? The concept was SSI and SSI reform would happen. You would get more money, but it would also give you a COVID relief of $200 a month for 6 to 12 months. So know that number, 6 to 12 months of $200. That's That's about $1,200 approximately on the low end. Then what happened thereafter was Democrats in mid 2021 said, what happened to that campaign promise, Mr. Biden? We're going to do it for you. We're going to do fist stimulus. And I covered it all last year on this channel. Fist stimulus, a lot more than SS 200. Today, now we see there's another opportunity to do it without a recon, without an act of Congress, without waiting another minute, and it starts right now. The President of the United States can pick up the phone and contact the Social Security Administration and tell them to change their guidelines and remove COLA as the benchmark and use inflation. All right, that's a lot to digest. Let me step back a moment to explain to you what's going on. There are government agencies out there like FEMA, Social Security, SBA. The way they were established in the Constitution, they have authority to determine how they run themselves. You don't need an act of Congress every time they want to change something. And your benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security Railroad benefits, are dependent upon one major benchmark. It's called COLA, C-O-L-A, cost of living adjustment. COLA has traditionally not moved for many, many years. That's why every year your check looks like the check from the year before. It doesn't go up. And the fifth stimulus advocates of the Democratic Party middle last year said, we want to replace COLA and put it as inflation. Liz Warren promised this during the campaign trail. Joe Biden promised this during the campaign trail. Well, all last year I told you inflation is so much better than COLA. Last spring, I said that inflation would be, in December 2021, which is last month, 8%. Federal Reserve said, no, it's going to be 1%, 2%, and temporary. Wall Street said, no, it's going to be 2 to 3% and temporary. They were all wrong because guess what? It was 7.5%. And we'll see the new inflation numbers in about 2 weeks from now. And guess what? Inflation has not gone down. It's still high. What Joseph Biden needs to do is pick up the phone and contact the Social Security Administration and say, you know what? You don't need an act of Congress. You don't need an executive order from me. All you need to do is listen to me. And I want you to replace COLA effective 30 days out from here and start paying people's benefits based upon inflation. How much would you get? Here comes the ringing bell. Instead of seeing your benefits go up 5.9% because of COLA since last month, your benefits would be going up 7.5% if he did it today. That's 2% more per month. That's at least, for most viewers, $200 more per month. And that's SS 200, folks, $200 a month. The only difference is it's not 6 to 12 months. It's lifetime. Yeah, the kid in Los Angeles has figured out how to do SS 200 and getting it a lifetime for you, longer than the president even promised on the campaign trail, and getting it fast out the door. There you go. That's where he needs to do it. Now, the President of the United States has another opportunity to get you big hard cash right away. Let me go over that one. And we've seen this across the board in the last year. It is called repurposing money. Repurposing money is very simple. Government agency given a program under the law and money for the program. Suddenly the program's over. It's done. But the money is still there. Where does the money go? It goes nowhere until someone tells it where to go. And this is the concept of repurposing the money. We saw this twice during the Trump administration. During the Trump administration, FEMA was given a lot of money for COVID relief early on. Programs ended at FEMA, and then suddenly the money was left over. Now, what's FEMA? That's hurricanes, fires, natural disaster. Is FEMA unemployment? It's not. But Donald Trump picked up the phone one day, contacted FEMA and said, you have extra money. Your programs are over. I need you to repurpose your money for unemployment. Excuse me? Yes, for unemployment. And they did. Didn't need an executive order. Didn't need a memo. Didn't need an act of Congress. And suddenly FEMA sent out money for unemployment. Donald Trump had a second opportunity, and that was SBA. SBA had $550 billion of money left over from its programs for businesses, and that could have been repurposed as 2 stimulus checks to be sent out to you. He didn't do it, and I think it cost him the election. Again, these are programs that as examples of what's happened in the past. That money for those programs are not there. But if Joseph Biden can relocate any sums of money that are still in programs that have now expired, that can be repurposed and sent out to you. Again, Joseph Biden, the President of the United States, cannot go into the Department of Treasury, grab a wad of cash, and mail it out to you. This is not an executive order for stimulus checks. This is not an executive order for MSE. This is taking existing cash from programs in federal agencies other than the Department of Treasury that has now, the programs have now expired, and repurposing that cash for you. Which then brings us to more breaking news tonight. I told you there's a lot of breaking news tonight. As Joe Biden and Pramila Jayapal are not looking good in what they're doing with home runs or victory laps. Now, what is a victory lap? A victory lap means you hit a home run, and so you run around the bases and you celebrate your victory. So what is Joe Biden and Pramila Jayapal doing both today? Victory laps. A good look, not a good look. And guess who's not liking it? Fellow Democrats. Pramila Jayapal is that House Democrat who's a progressive, who promised a lot, never delivered much. And she is that individual who, less than 2 days ago, I told you she said that the recon would go for a vote on March 1st. And I said, it's a joke, it's made up. She doesn't determine the Senate. She's not in the Senate. She's not Chuck Schumer. And Nancy Pelosi called it fake narrative, fairy tale. And at the time I said, what is she doing, Pramila? Is she trying to run for Dianne Feinstein's Senate seat in California? Well, guess what happened? I guess someone was watching me again, because here's a massive article that's out today that says Pramila Jayapal is all about advancing her political career in the last few days. Okay, I guess they all smelled it the same way. And guess who's actually quoted in this article? I mean, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. There's 15 lawmakers and aides quoted off the record, and then Democrats quoted on the record that says they're unhappy with what Pramila Jayapal is doing. It's looking like it's all about her career and advancing her career. She's after getting a higher seat in the House or potentially moving over to the Senate. And they say she's doing nothing to advance Build Back Better Act at all this week. All she's doing is about her career. Yeah, not one of my favorite things to ever report on, but that's what's going on. Second, President Joe Biden did that today as well. A good look, not a good look. What happened? The jobs numbers came in. This is how many jobs are created in this economy. And let's remember, the number was bad 2 months ago. Then the number came in today, and it was really good. It was a 500,000. And guess what happened? The number was so good that Joseph Biden did a victory lap and held a press conference and says the best number you've ever seen in the United States from a president. Yeah. Can we just get some economic recovery out, and then we can do the victory lap? Coming up next tonight on Evenings LA at 5 o'clock, it's a brand new show, and we'll go over more about this breaking news. Plus, we'll be turning into the big money of third stimulus that's paying out. I want you to get another round of third stimulus, and I'll show you thousands of dollars you can get for rent, utilities, and mortgage, as this is more. We're going to have a big weekend with now several bodies of legislation giving you the opportunity to get that money out the door. Advocate to Leahy, advocate to Schumer, and join me on 5 o'clock for a brand new Evenings LA. Then at 6 o'clock, Evenings Countdown. At 7 o'clock is Home Stream Stimulus, and at 8 o'clock is, of course, Evenings Extra. We continue tonight at 9, 10, 11:30 with Overnights LA as well. Stay informed, stay focused, keep on smiling, and keep on advocating, and subscribe. I want you part of the Incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Stay informed, stay focused. Have a beautiful day, and stay with LA for more.